Over the course of my life, I have always been aware of physical exertion. Getting tired, um, the ability to have endurance and stamina, wherewithal to keep driving, perseverance, physical perseverance. And I have always been aware that my level of physical perseverance, drive, my intestinal fortitude was high. And a lot of times in our society, I was given warning signs to not let my level of aggression and my lean forwardness get the best of me. Welcome. Let me preface by saying this. This station is called Ascension to Sovereignty. So when I make videos like this, I do not mean to pat myself on the back or give myself kudos or any type of coup de grace or some type of salute like I'm any more than you or anyone in your family. But the truth is, we are not born equal, and we are not developed into equal people. Some of us can run faster than others, jump higher than others. Some of us have more stamina than others. Some of us have other components that are measured and can be equated into the calculation when you think about measuring yourself up against, let's just say, another athlete. Because some athletes are really fast and some is really strong. But sometimes you get that rare athlete that has elite level speed, strength, elite level stamina, but they just don't understand. They don't have a energy like feel for the game of football or basketball. They don't have that it factor. They don't know. So it takes a lot of components to make what is an elite level player. And this is why, a lot of times in our sports games, especially the game of basketball, is easier understood. Because you have some players that are elite to me, but the common basketball fan will think that they're not that good because they're not running and slamming, dunking on anyone, or they're not shooting a half-court shot like Steph Curry. See, I always favored players like Gary Payton because Gary Payton, he played both ends of the court. Gary Payton knew the game. Gary Payton has stamina that I can go on and on about how elite this young man named Gary Payton is and was. He's still here. I think his son is in NBA now, but that's a side note. He made defensive first team of the NBA 9 years straight. Like, if you was to give me, Gary Payton, or I can get Steph Curry or Allen Iverson, and you could say it's two different positions or whatever, but I'm taking Gary Payton every day of the week. Like, I just appreciate a well-rounded individual. A little more than a one-sided, lopsided type of player. And I view this like a well-rounded human being also. See, I always knew my physical capabilities were rare. But when I was 18 years young and I was about to go to college, I was out with some friends and I was shot in the spine. And I was paralyzed for 3.5 months from the waist down. And for at least like 3 years after that, I was severely handicapped once I started walking. I walked with an obvious limp. I could not do things. I was a handicapped person. I developed how to walk really fast to compensate for my limp and my gimp in my spine, because I got shot in the spine. And over the course of the next 10 years after I was shot, I was just a shell of myself. But during that time, it started to build other elements of me, my spiritual and my mental. This is when my ability to increase my knowledge, my writing ability, my comprehending ability, my numbers started to soar when I was delving into different community college works, and I was amazed at how the grading scale had advanced for me. Where, out of high school, my numbers were 1,000, the classes, and on mathematics it was like 991. But after that period, after high school, I'm telling you, like 12 years after, it's like all my grades and stats, everything escalated. I didn't know how. My numbers was at 1,200, 1,250, and I hadn't did nothing but began an avid reader and writer on my own reconnaissance. But I also didn't know how my will, my spirit was growing also. And I just want to say, like today, I went to an event, and my ability to think under pressure is elevating. My spirituality. And I know we have a lot of conceptions about what spirituality is to me. I'm not going to define it, but I know I'm kind of all over the place. I apologize, family. But I want to tell this one episode about, I met two young men. Well, I met a lot, but I want to talk about two. I was at an event, National Urban League Conference. It was today in Cleveland, Ohio. And somehow I ended up in there. I had to meet some people and make it happen. And I was in there all day meeting people, doing what it do. So I always have an affinity for youngsters, young people that are not getting molded by the people in their community, the leaders, the school system, the public school systems, the charter schools, their parents. Like, leaders of the community have to do a better job in guiding these youth, right? It's disgusting. So they was giving out a lot of food. So I was talking with a young man. I had got a bag. They was giving out a lot of gifts at this conference, and they had some Apple Jacks. And I said, man, I'm gonna just lay these right here. I'm talking to the ladies I was serving on. I was heading a booth, so I was with a booth, Cleveland Public School System booth, and I had laid them to the side, and the child, like 10-year-old boy, came up and said, man, can I get those Apple Jacks? And there was some other Crispies, something like that. And I'm like, man, I give them to you. You can have all 4 of them, but I want you to do a homework assignment. Now, this is my first time seeing a little boy. This is a note. I didn't know I knew his father. Just met his father a few days before, like less than a week ago, right? But his father wasn't with him at this time. So I said, your homework assignment is, look at this ingredient list. I want you to look up what these things do inside the human body. All of them. But start with yellow 5, yellow 6, blue 1, and do red 40 first. He said, Okay. I said, can you do that? I said, you got a phone, right? And he's about to do it. I said, no, just wait till you get home. Don't forget. Say, you ask ChatGPT, what does eating red 40 do to me if I eat it in my food over the course of the years? So he like, all right. I said, man, look, it's important. I forget his name, Greg. I say, little Greg, I say, it's very important now. He said, all right, all right. Boom, he leave. So he come back around with his father, and his father was like a activist, like me, fighting for collateral sanctions for felons, getting out of jail, returning to the community. It's a lot of things that are damaging to us connecting back with our community, housing, work, employment, and connecting, finding functional relationships and all these things. When you're trying to get on your feet, you need the support of your family. So this is often scarce when it comes to a felon returning home, and they call it collateral sanctions. It's like the explosion happens, you go to jail, and you come back, and there's more small explosions that you got to deal with afterwards. So other sanctions on your life that inhibit you from connecting back to your community. So that's what his father is very, very into, providing those services. So he came over. I'm like, I didn't know this was your dad. He was like, I've met your dad last week, man. Well, you wasn't there because it was some things we did for young boys. See, I really don't, I'm not a clout chaser on social media. I say I kick my knowledge, but I don't have it with the young children, which I'm gotta start this week. It's just not my thing to be running around with a camera. Hey, y'all, look at what I'm doing. Give me some help. And I don't exactly feel comfortable with that, because I know people know what I'm doing. They know it. And it's a shame that people don't support. It's all good. So anyway, that little boy left, and then I was telling other little boys today, it hurts me when young men be talking with they, I ask them, my name is Sergio. They talk like that. I'm like, what's your name? Sergio. And I get closer like, hey, what's your name? Sergio. Man. I said, look at me. My name is Leon. I say my name with power. Because if I don't say it with power, ain't nobody else gonna say it with power. Hell, fuck, they ain't even gonna remember it if I don't say it with power. Let me hurry this story up. So I tell them, like, when you speak with a certain vibration, it will give you power, and it will give other people power. I said, not only that, it will show people that you demand respect. If somebody hear you say, Sergio, they gonna say this little boy weak. You don't want nobody thinking you weak, do you? Mm-hmm. I say, man, say Sergio like you strong. I say, man, not from your chest. Don't say it from your throat. Sergio? No. Get your breath, breathe. Sergio. Like, make a vibration. Like when you listen to music, make beast. That's just what I was teaching young men today. But as I'm gonna end this video, I was teaching, I teach that lesson all the time. That's my thing. You see somebody do it, send them to me. Because you're wrong for trying to steal my gift. Excuse me. So, oh man, I ain't got that much power. Damn. What do I got? Alright, maybe I had to hold this for a second. I got the wrong power plug. That's how I'm doing it. So, I was leaving out of the Cleveland Convention Center. I think it's the Huntington Center where the National Urban League Convention was at. So I was leaving out, and it was a grandma. She was a grandma, late 60s at least. And she was about 6'1", somewhere close to 300 pounds, like 280. She had a cane, and as I'm 5 feet from her coming out the door, she was yelling. I said, she was telling somebody like, it's hot out here. No, she said, excuse me. She said, I can't breathe, it's hot. But she was lumbering on, like taking 2 steps and stopping to, and I was about to help her, and I looked and seen who she was talking to, right? So it was a big head, African American, young lady. She was like 40, 45, just walking off, right? So she had a little girl with her. And the little girl was like 4 or 5, and it was a boy with her. So the boy, he was like 10 to 12 years old. He was about close to 5 feet, and he was heavy. Like he had to be about 160, at least 150. Big, a stout young man. So he was playing with the balls and like, come on, grandma. And I'm walking up, I passed her, and I'm walking toward like, come on, grandma. And the lady was gone. And as I'm walking by, she like, it's hot, I can't make it. And she was complaining to him, but the big head lady, she was gone. She was just walking up. So the little boy was throwing the ball up like, come on, why we just going, talking. And I got up there by him, almost by him, but he walked up with who I didn't know, but it was his auntie. So I said, hey, young man. I say, come here, man. I say, is that your grandma? You with that lady right there? He said, yeah. And that's your grandmother? He said, yeah. I'm like, man, I walked by her. She can't breathe. And he pointed at the lady, the big head woman. And I'm like, what you pointing over there for? He said, I'm with my auntie. I said, but that's your grandmother who you with too. I said, man, get back there, man, and make sure she's safe. I said, what the fuck wrong with you, man? I said, man, go be a man. Look at how she's breathing. Look at her eyes. Make sure she's all right in this heat and get her to where y'all going. And he just looked down at the ground and, he was moping on towards her. And I was glad he just followed what I was saying, because the auntie turned right around and just walked right by me as I was getting in his ass to get back there and help his grandma. And she started going back there by him after that. She was just telling her, screaming, talking about, come on! Just so insensitive, man. It just was, I don't know. I did what I was supposed to do. I should have, snapped on her too. But, I would have, it might have made a situation with all the mouth and stuff. I just try not to even comment the ladies when they just so out of pocket, it don't make no sense. It was just the audacity of her to let this elder just, can't even, it's hot, it's muggy, it's like 85 out there, it might be worse. If no wind blowing, and she just leaving her, talking about some come on. I couldn't believe that, man. It pissed me off. It's crazy how so many our young people don't have common manhood etiquette in them. I'm talking about little girls and boys. They ain't got common manhood etiquette in them. And it's like, it don't matter to y'all. All y'all care about is where you gonna get some snacks from, or where I'm gonna get some pleasure at, or can I go shopping, or come, like, man, I don't know what the hell going on out here, man. I'm trying to reel myself back in, but I don't like where we at right now. My voice messed up. Listen, man, everywhere I go, I'm checking shit. I check the police. I check, like, you gonna act better than that. What the fuck wrong with you? It ain't just some police. I'm talking about wherever I'm at. You gonna act like not like you got some sense, man. You gonna act like you want to move to the next level. Like you don't want to be no common freaking human being. What the fuck is going on? Too many of us just any fucking thing. Excuse my language. I apologize. We just anything today. I apologize again. What the hell is going on? Don't nothing matter but getting some money, going to shopping and having some fun and being excited and entertainment. Like that's all that matters. Gossip. We don't have no foundation on most of our cultures. And it's just okay to y'all, man. And y'all still voting for our leaders. I don't know what. Let me get out of here, man. I got 3 minutes to go. I love you. I'll be back soon. Oh, man, I'll be back soon.